Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page podcast. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. And this is episode 11 of the Junk Journaling podcast, and I am in my craft room sitting comfortably in my very lovely brand new chair. I can't emphasize the fact of being comfortable when you are sitting around doing your crafts. It's really important. Before I was on a very hard wooden chair which was just a standard dining room chair, had a hard spindled back, and I used to have to put cushions behind myself to keep me comfortable. And although it was upright, it's just after time. It's quite nice to have some padding and be able to have the ability to twist in a chair that allows you to move and moves with you. So there we go. It's important, isn't it? Whether you're working from a desk and you have an office job to whether you're sitting at your craft room, do exactly what you would do if you were going to get a sit-down office job. You would be well looked after there if you were employed, and you would have to have the right chair. So it's no different if you are sitting down to craft. Make sure that your comfort and your support have taken priority, and that you have made priority for yourself to have that comfort. So there we go. That's my little health and safety notice of the day about comfort. And I thought I'd just discuss with you my junk journaling journey so far. My journey in becoming a bookmaker or a journal maker. So how on earth did that happen? Well, first of all, I am quite a creative person. I have lots of skills under my belt that I have learnt over the years. I have been to art school, art college, university to study art and design over the years. These are days, months, weeks, years of information that have been banked and locked, ultimately forgotten and then remembered again. But all of those skills are there, and that will encompass a lot of different things, learning about ceramics and sculpture and painting and artists and different applications from oil painting to watercolour, and then how to put glaze on and what chemicals we can add to create a certain effect on a metal, and how to weld metal and how to bend metal and how to draw and how not to draw, and how well we create a idea. Is an idea okay to just go for it, or should it be formulated and planned out some more? How do you tackle a project? Do you just go with your instinct, or do you like to sit down and plan it out? And all of those things are completely down to the individual. This is my conclusion over the years. I was always taught to come up with an idea, sit down and develop it again. And do that on paper as much as possible so that you can be very clear with your end vision. And I hated it. Absolutely hated that process. I thought that just sucked the fun right out of it. I thought, I've overthought this project so much, I don't even want to do it anymore, because I couldn't put my personality into it. I couldn't feel the expression. So that's really important as well. I don't really see that a painter in the 18th century and 19th century would have sat down and planned absolutely everything. He might have sketched out where he wanted to put his plants and flowers and trees, and planned out where he was going to put his focal image or his muse, and then he would have got to work and sort of intuitively put the colours down through good colour knowledge and learning where to put things. And so I think when I approach a project, I've got a rough idea of how I want it to look in my mind, and I just go for it, and I develop it as I go, and I change it as I go. I often halfway through think, oh, it would have been better if I had done that. And I suppose that's what I was always taught to do, avoid those moments of, oh, it would have been better if I had done that. But then you know you don't learn, you suck the fun out of it. Part of making a brilliant piece that you're happy with is making the mistakes along the way. And that's why I have really fallen in love with junk journaling, because we embrace the mistakes, we have a go, we intuitively just go for it. There are no rules and we don't need to plan. The biggest plan is, have you got enough paper? Have you got something to make a mark on that paper with? Have you got enough glue? And really that is the essentials, but beyond that we can make it work, and we do make it work. If we've got a smudge on a piece of paper, that's an opportunity. That's not a problem. We put things over the top of it. We tidy it up, or we hide that tear or that stain that we don't like. We just think, that's now indicated where I need to put something to hide that away or emphasize it or embellish it. If you've got a rip in a piece of paper, make the rip bigger and increase that rip, and maybe you could see through onto the next page of something else interesting. So it's an artistic application and there are no rules. Everything's off the table and you can go for it. So I would call myself a journal bookmaker because I have been able to sell books, and they are going off out to people across the world. And that is really, really exciting. Skip round the craft room exciting, because that isn't where I began my journey at all. I began my journey during lockdown feeling a bit overwhelmed and wanting to write some notes down in a book just to process what I was thinking. I didn't want to discuss about what I was doing or where I'd been or what a lovely weekend I had, because we weren't having any of those things. We were stuck indoors, wondering what we were going to do, how we were going to get through it. And 2 weeks turned into 2 months, and 2 months into 2 years of not really knowing what was happening. So whilst that has happened, creativity bubbled to the surface. And when I bought my first journal to try and journal into, and I couldn't use it because I just didn't find it inspirational. I didn't find I liked the papers. It was something very wrong about this book that I bought. It was just too commercial and modern. And it led me to have a look for other ways in which I would feel comfortable expressing what I felt inside, and that frustration, I suppose, that creativity that wanted to burst out. And it didn't want to burst out in written word. It just didn't. I don't want to do that. I don't want to write a journal, but I want to journal. It's very strange. I can't explain it. So what I want to do is make journals. I want to make that opportunity for somebody else who needs to write. I don't want them feeling the way I did when they couldn't express themselves in a book that felt soulless. I want to give them a book full of soul, full of heart, full of kindness, full of love, so that they can open that book and they can feel warm and like a hug, like someone has thought things out for them, so that they can have a look at a ticket or a tag and think, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. I need to write down a little note so that I won't forget. And lo and behold, I've been given one, and I can tuck it away in an envelope, and that's fine, and it'll be there. And this is a really nice best friend to hug and hold and see and be with most days, and maybe 3 times a week, maybe once a month, you could check in with your journal and you could just put some creative writing together, a poem or a story, or when you're feeling sad, perhaps it's the place to go and you can just relax and look at the pretty images and the papers and think about the quotes that you would find within one of my journals or one of my YouTube channels, where it helps you create something like that for yourself, and then you would be able to look back on it in time, in the future, and think, oh, we got through that. That was tough, but we did it. So, yeah, to be able to come and say, I'm a journal maker, and maybe you are too. Maybe you would like to have a go at that. Maybe you're not somebody that wants to write reams about their day or their week or their year or their memories. Maybe you like to do both. Maybe the idea of creating something and being able to gift it to somebody else is exactly what you want to do. You want to give that generosity and that kindness and pass it on to others so that they can feel like they would be able to settle down and write their notes in something special. And particularly if it's a family member or a daughter or a niece or somebody younger than you, maybe that's really, really nice, a nice caregiving thing to be able to offer the struggling younger generation that has to fathom their way through and navigate a world it's so fast changing for them, and it's very, very hard for us to feel like we can give the right advice when we're floundering about just as much as they are half the time. But if we can provide a constant, if we can provide a point where they can aim for, if we can show them nature and show them space and the stars and the moon and things that are going to always be there, and a constant source of inspiration, the changing seasons, the natural world, things that they need to go into and experience a different level of peace and calm as they breathe fresh air and focus on a horizon and aspire to climb a mountain and look from the top. If we can do that for others, then maybe that's a really, really brilliant use of our time. And so that's where I've been coming from for a lot of this, a lot of musings and thoughts being rambled here on my podcast today. But certainly where I'm at with what I want to achieve for my creativity going forwards, and taking others with me, inspiring them to make books, inspiring to use books, and inspiring them to pass them on to the future generations so that they might look upon the papers and feel a sense of grounded belonging to something that came before. So not a digital screen, not a pressure to make a decision quickly on a multitude of different options presented constantly, but just look at a plant, just observe the leaves, watch the wind blow the petals, imagine how calming that is on a summer's day when the light hits the water droplets in a certain way, and how that makes you feel. And can you calm down? Can you breathe? Can you think things through from start to finish? Can you make a decision that's right for you and not a decision that is put upon you by somebody else's idealism or dreams? What are yours? Where are you going? Where are you headed? Just breathe, just calm down. Think of the flowers, think of the plants, think of the trees, think of the branches swaying and the shadows dancing and the clouds moving and the light glinting and the natural world of ever-changing, constant, but always there, always present, night and day. We know that's going to happen. We can focus on that. We can focus on the horizon, and we know that it will be there tomorrow. What we don't know will be there tomorrow is all these different things flying at us, adverts and constant attention seeking from the media and social media, and all those things that these poor children are being blasted at left, right and centre. But there's a sense of stability on a page. Even if you've not had the best relationship with books growing up, maybe you don't read so well, maybe that's not been a part of your growing up, you didn't get into stories, that's fine. But paper is interesting, it's a tactile feel. Maybe the sound of the paper turning the pages, the smell of the paper, all of those things could be a wonderful sensory, beautiful part of anyone's growing up. And that's part of what's going on for me with these wonderful books that are being created out of goodness knows where, my imagination, and being led and guided to do it by my creative self, and wanting to do that for others and wanting to take people along for the journey, my journey, but also other people's journey. Anyone listening to this podcast has definitely stumbled upon something that they should be stumbling upon because they're creative self has led them to this. And so that's fantastic. What does it mean to you? Do you want to go and make a book? Do you want to write in a book? Do you just like to absorb the creative idea that you could make a book? Of course you could. Anyone could. You just pick up a piece of paper and fold it in half. And then you do that again. And you put the two pieces together and you've made 2 pages of a book. Doesn't have a spine, doesn't have a binding, but it's pages, and therefore you could then decorate those pages. And if you like what you've decorated on the pages, maybe you might want to put a staple in the middle and you've made a little pamphlet. And if you do that several more times, you've made a booklet. And from a booklet you've made a book and a journal. And who knows what you will make and what you will want to keep, but certainly it's a perfect place to keep all the little wonderful things that we're given, and maybe you want to make something out of greeting cards or ephemera pieces that you've been given. It's all there to keep us on our toes, isn't it? And the more you practice your creativity, the better you become, I've noticed. So if you were to come and visit a book, even if it's a book that you've bought from a very low-cost store and it is just a notepad with a few staples in its spine and paperback, maybe if you just decorate that to begin with and just see how you get on, that could be interesting. And maybe put a colour to those stark white papers that remind you of the office or your school days. Take that away and see if that intrigues you. The crinkled paper where it's been damaged by the water that you've put on there. Damaged or improved? It's an interesting topic, even that in itself. The crinkled papers that have reacted to a coffee dye or a tea stain or an ink. Those are wonderful, crispy, crunchy papers that ultimately feel, I don't know, strangely welcoming when you want to write on them, and they have been enhanced by the colours and the distressed nature of the application of whatever you've done to it. It just suddenly feels like, it doesn't matter. It isn't perfect anymore. It doesn't need to be perfect. Life isn't perfect. Your life might not be perfect. Mine certainly isn't. I don't want it to be. That would be very peculiar. Having a perfect life, whatever would that even mean? I don't know. Having a perfect life, goodness me, would I get up at a certain precise point every time? Would I open the curtains every day at the exact second hand clicks and says, right, that is curtain opening time, that is toothbrushing time? What would that mean? What's a perfect day? Is it all orderly and functional and lovely and fresh and clean? But where's the fun? Where's the sense of adventure? Where's the spontaneity? Who knows? I don't know. But I know that my journal is not to be precise. It can't be. It's too formal, and I'm not formal enough for it. I'd love to be. One side of me would like to be all formal and neat and orderly. But that's not going to happen. That's not me. I'm much more of a fly by the seat of my pants sort of a girl, and I do like to have creativity at my fingertips. I like to be able to look at something and know how to enhance it or make it more pleasing to whatever mood I might be in at the time. And I like to express my emotions, and I like that to be available for others so they can do that too. And they can open a book and think, oh, today has felt like a very odd day. I'd like to express that with the colour grey and brown. And then, oh, that feels better. Now I'm feeling like I want to put a strawberry on top of it. And before you know what you've done, you've created the most amazing piece of work just by working through your feelings in the last 20 minutes of, oh, it's raining, I feel grey. Oh, it's burning hot and I can't breathe. It's so hot. What colours are that? Let's put those colours down. And then while we're at it, let's put a focal point on the top. Oh, it feels like a fruit or a butterfly, and call it done. And look down and you think, oh, I don't know where that came from. I don't know how I created that, but I like it. And now I'm going to cut it into a tag and call it amazing. And that is journaling. That is creative journaling. So do that. Do more of that. Put down the colours that you feel. Make a tag out of it. Add something fun and exciting on the top. Is it a piece of fruit? Is it a funny picture of a bird? Is it a cartoon? Is it something from your childhood? Is it a favourite thing? Is it a car? What memories conjure up when you think of these images and looking through a book? And what would you like to see on your tag or your page this week? And yes, add something fun. So add the colours of your mood of the week. What is the mood of the week? Is it all fun and happy and close with your family? Or is it feeling a little bit lonely and distant? And what colours are those? Put them down, put them all down on the page, and then change the mood completely. Look at it and think, well, okay, so we've put down happy, sunny colours, but now maybe put down something more moody. Put something else down, something like an animal with a bit more ferocious. What does that make you feel? And just have fun, just play. It's art, it's fun. It's what you're supposed to be doing and exploring, and see what emotions are conjured up and how that makes you feel. And loosen up and express yourself and get it all out, get it all down. And what you like, you can put in your journal. What you don't like, you can put to one side and see if it's any good next week, because that's another trick. Putting it to one side and see what it looks like sometime later is an interesting one. You bring it out, you might not have liked it on the day, but 2 weeks later you think, that's really different. Oh, if only I just put a tag or a ticket or a stamp or a label on it. Boom, done. So you're looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes. And yes, you can be surprised at yourself, at how you actually appreciate your work even more as time goes on. And you can't quite see it in the moment because there are other things going on, or you're working too closely with it. It's like you're trying to spell a word. You've focused on it so much that the spelling now looks wrong. It's the same with a piece of artwork. You can work on it so closely that you can't get it. You just think it doesn't look good until you step away from it. And sometimes it may even need a few days to be away from it and then come back and think, oh, what I needed was a fish put on it, or a flower, or both. Why not? So well done, everybody, for all of your creative endeavours this week, as we've put together lots of fun things and been thinking about journaling and arts, and maybe we're even now having a look at building another journal. Maybe you like to have a journal that you have every month. Maybe you want one for every season, or maybe you just want one for the year. Whatever feels right to you. If you want to buy something or if you want to make it yourself, there are no rules here, and everything is right if it feels right to you. And as long as you're having fun in your quiet crafting space, that's all that matters. And please do keep listening in and having a look at the YouTube channel, where we can explore some of this and unravel all of our thoughts and feelings into pages and spreads and interesting ephemera which we can play with and pass on and enjoy for ourselves and for our families and for those that we might want to sell them to in the future. And thank you very much for listening, everybody, and I will be back with the next podcast very shortly. Do please have a look at the YouTube channel, where I've got lots of videos going up about wonderful things that we could be doing in our journals on a daily spread or on a weekly, monthly, however you like to do it. Whether you'd like to plan with your journal, that's fine. And if you just want to put a page together and then be able to write something, we can have a look at how to do things in a quick fashion, where you make things in advance at the weekend, so you've got everything all ready for the week ahead. And keep your creativity levels up by visiting your journal regularly. So thanks everybody for listening, and above everything else, guys, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.